are no names on here. I ain't going to try to figure out nothing. Just going to see what the general consensus is on how you handle offense. Does it handle you or do you handle it? All right? So, from one of the guys, I got a 1 right here. From one of the ladies, I got a 1.
That's good.
Guys, I got a 1. Hey, now y'all got to be truthful now. Don't get all right. For one of the guys, I got a 3. Okay. One of the guys, I got a 3. I got a 2. Got a 2 from a guy. A 1 from a guy. A 1 from a guy. A 1 from a guy. Yeah. Well, the rest of them probably going to be ladies, hopefully. All right. I got a 2 from a young lady. I got another 2 from a young lady. Okay. I got another 2 from a young lady. Another 2. I got a lot of 2s from the ladies. 2s from the ladies. Okay. I got 1 from the ladies. All these my guys. My guys over here I'm talking about 1s. Almost my guys saying 1s. I got a 3 from a guy. All right, I got a young lady. Gave me a 1. I got a 2. Most of them are 2s from the young lady. I got another 2 from a guy. And got a 2 from a young lady. Most of the ladies are saying 2, and I got a 3. I got 1 3 from a young lady. So most of them were 2s for the guys, and for the ladies, and 1s for the guys. So the guys, for the most part, if I had to just say the majority, you guys are saying that, hey, I don't hold grudges. It's hard for me to take an offense to different things. And if you do, ladies, offend or say something that the guys may look at as being offensive, they brush it off. They're saying, hey, it's real light, pass quickly. The majority. Now, I did have one guy to put a 2, and I also had one guy to put a 3. Hey. Now, for the ladies, most of you, I had 1 3. I think I had 1 or 2 1s, but the majority of you guys said 2. 2, meaning, see, women, the propensity, that was your word yesterday, you had the propensity, y'all work through things. You work through, you look for ways to make things work. So number 2 says, hey, I'm working through it. I see light at the end of the tunnel. So the male or the husband offends you or says something to you that is not quite right. You get a little bothered by it. You may get a little upset by it. But you're saying that, for the majority of you guys are saying that it's going to be okay. Hey, I don't hold a grudge to the point where I have the belief that it's not going to work out. You don't, a lot of you guys, ladies, you don't say, hey, it's a light thing. You put a little more seriousness on it. Whereas the majority of the guys, it's a light thing, the majority of them. It's a light thing, whatever it may be. Ain't no big deal. It's going to be all right. Now, to the ones that said 3. 3, whoever put 3, I think I had 1 3 over here. And I think I had 1 or 2 3s over here. You're saying, as far as how I handle offense from my mate, it is what it is. That's the mentality. It is what it is. Hey, not sure if it will ever get better. Let's talk a little bit about grudges. Now, mates, you guys can come on back together if you want to, but after that exercise, y'all might want to stay like, I don't know. But tonight, I want to talk about the effects of grudges in marriage and how to let them go. The effects of grudges in marriage and how to let them go. Somebody tell me in your own words. Well, you know what? Before I even get to that, let me ask y'all this. What did y'all think about that exercise? Anybody? Have you guys ever amongst yourselves assessed or talked to each other or know from each other how you deal with offense? Do you know how your mate handles offense? Do you know how your mate deals with? Now, the offense could be a simple miscommunication. It could be an accident. It's not malicious. It's not an intentional thing. But then in some cases, it could be intentional. But the fact of the matter is, do you know how your mate handles or deals with offense?
I think the answers vary depending on what the offense is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's just a slip of the tongue or whether it's something way more egregious. I think the lettering changes depending on the degree of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things that are okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't hold grudges long. As person, as my nature, I don't hold grudges long.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on what degree of this grudge, what has been done or said,
Sure.
my answer, it may be something that just can't pass quickly or lightly.
Okay.
And so I would have to change to 2. Or
Okay.
is it something that's going to just damage the relationship? It rips a hole in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a 3.
Right. Kind of depends.
Yeah, it kind of depends.
Kind of depends. Now, in light of that, and that is so true. Also, though, there are some personalities, don't matter what it is. Yeah, exactly, yeah. No matter what it is, a light thing to you might be something heavy for Mr. Corporate over here. So how we look at that thing, how we assess that thing, Pastor, does have a determination on what number we will assign that thing. So I wanted to do that little exercise just to get you guys to get the juices flowing and get you to kind of think, hey, the way I process, depending on what it is, the way I process an offense from my wife, from my mate, may be a little bit different from my mate. They may process it a little bit differently. So it's good to know. Now, if the ones were matching, say, Pastor and Vanna, both of them said ones, that's a good thing. But what if Pastor said 1, but Vanna said 3? So you need to know how that thing, because Vanna, and I'm just using this as an example, Vanna may look at Pastor as saying, you don't take it serious enough. Whereas she's saying, something that is very, very serious. This what has happened, whatever has transpired, whatever you said to me or whatever you did to me, you act like it wasn't no big deal. But to her, she way over here in a 3, and once again, I'm using this as an example. She way over here in a 3, and Pastor over here in a 1. So we're talking about how we deal with offense. Do we hold grudges? And if we hold grudges, what happens with our relationship when we do hold grudges? So that takes me to my outline. Somebody, anybody, in your own words, what is a grudge? What is a grudge? What do I mean when I say holding grudges? Anybody?
Something that bothered you, and time has passed, and the time heals all wounds, but your anger level, your frustration with that issue is not going down as time passes.
Absolutely. Very good. Just to read what I have in my notes here, it says here, as a noun, a grudge is a persistent feeling of ill will or resentment resulting from a past insult or injury. It goes on to say a victim role perpetuated by rehearsing some hurtful offense. So a persistent feeling of ill will. All right, y'all go with me. Imagine this. We got two roads. One road we're going to call an anger road. Another road we're going to call a resentment road. You got an anger road and you got a resentment road. On each one of those roads can lead, if not handled, to what we call a grudge, an ill feeling towards someone based upon a perceived offense, an injury toward to the mate or to the spouse. So if I got an anger road and I got a resentment road, if anger is not handled, if anger is not taken care of, because all of us, we said at the beginning of the class, all of us have been offended by our mates before. Somebody may be offended now. Somebody on Facebook might be offended now. Everybody at some time or another, if you are not in that role right now, have been there. And if you haven't been there, stay married. Stay married. You will experience offense. But how do you deal with it? Let's go back to my roles again. An anger role and a resentment role. On the anger road, if anger is not dealt with in a timely manner, the anger road's objective is to lead you into a road of resentment. Is there a difference between anger and resentment? I bet y'all lying. You really never thought about that. Yeah, I know. I saw it on your face. Yeah. Yes, sir. What you got?
Anger would be, I think it would be the initial reaction.
The initial reaction to what took place.
And resentment would be the long-standing effects of it.
Very good. Very good. Very good. My initial, I'm using your words, my initial reaction to what you just did to me, Monica. What just took place? What you just did, okay. You said you were gonna be home at 6:30. It's 7:30. I ain't seen that camera yet, Pastor. I'm up in here hungry because you said you was gonna cook tonight. Yeah, we didn't have to go out. You said you were gonna do some spaghetti, and you know how I like that garlic toast and everything. I ain't got my garlic toast, nor do I have the spaghetti. All right, it's 8:30. I can feel something rising up. I'm getting a little perturbed because, and this is just an example, I'm looking for something because you told me you was going to do something, but it doesn't look like you're going to make good on what you said. So the initial response that I'm having right now, I'm wondering what's going on. What's happening? Okay. Do I say that I may be headed toward getting a little upset? I ain't ate all day. I've been looking forward to this. 2 hours done passed and you're supposed to be in here. And when I call you, you're...
ain't answering.
I done jumped in there. Hey, I was treading pretty good until I picked up the phone. And then you didn't answer the phone. So now, that initial response, I'm a little upset. It's 9 o'clock. You supposed to be home. What time she supposed to be home? 7:30. 7:30. I'm glad you're keeping up with it. Only 7:30. Was it 6 o'clock?
6:30.
It was 6 o'clock. Oh, and because I had said, and now it's 7:30. I'm confused. So now, as husband and wives, anger is kicking in. So what do we do now? What do? We have got to do something, Tish, to head this thing off. Because I said a few moments ago, the road of anger, its objective, Miss Sandra, is to put you on the road of resentment. Resentment, Tavares, is more long-term, where anger is more of a temporary thing. Let me read some of the adjectives, some of the words that were described in my notes as it relates to anger and resentment. It says anger is more related to assertiveness and or moral outrage. A disbelief in what has happened. A disbelief in what has happened. How could you do this to me? I'm starving. I've been working all day. How can you do this to me? Resentment says vengefulness. Listen at that word. Vengefulness. Spite. Wants to get back at you. In other words, I want you to feel how I feel. I want you to feel how I feel. I'm not going to feel better until you feel. Why y'all peeping at each other and stuff? It's going to be all right. Everybody just look up here. Everybody. Hey. Woo! I told you it was going to be like that. I told you, Pastor. Hey. But resentment says, Monica, I want you to feel like I'm feeling right now. Resentful or resentment, Tavares, more long-term. One of the words that was associated with resentment was harbor. H-A-R-B-O-R. To harbor. In other words, to hold, or smolder. To harbor feelings is to what feelings? To keep them. Yeah, to hold on to them. You holding on to what took place. All of you guys, if it doesn't apply to you, I bet you know of someone that is harboring resentment right now. Maybe it's on Facebook, I don't know. But somebody know what I'm talking about. Harboring, and then another word that described it said smoldering. 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 Burn slowly with smoke, but no flame. Burn slowly with smoke. Burn slowly. The offense took place a while back, but every now and then something will trigger it. Or trigger or flag. Now, the offense, now see, I done graduated or I done progressed from anger to resentment when a certain thing can happen and remind me of your offense. And now I'm snapping at you. But the offense, John, took place 5-10 years ago. And the least little thing that reminds me of the offense makes it as if it just happened yesterday. That's what resentment does. How do we handle that? How do we handle it? First of all, we try not to let it get to that point. Not to let it get to resentment. Resentment says that I have spite. I have spite in my heart for my mate. Was something done so egregious that, and I was reluctant to say it, but it's in the notes and I'm going to go ahead and say it. I didn't really want to say it because it was so deep to me to say this, but I'm going to say it because it's in my notes. It even used the word hate. Hate. I didn't want to say that word, but it's in my notes and it's there, and I believe in calling it what it is. I believe in that. It says to have bitterness, indignation, and hatred. In your relationships, you never want to get to the point in your relationship where you have hate in your heart for your mate. I know people like that. I do. I know. I have actually counseled in the past people that have said to me that I hate her. Hate. That's such a strong word. Hate. How did it get to that point though? How did it get to the point that the anger turned to resentment, and now resentment is producing hate, spitefulness, being vengeful? I want you to feel the way I feel about that thing. Boy, it's quiet up in here.
A question. Well, if it gets to a point of resentment, that or even hatred, so whatever area doesn't that bleed into all areas of your relationship? Because you can't have that level of a problem with someone and it doesn't come through in your cooking or the ironing of the clothes or the
On your work,
all that, and even in your conversation, where it's not even about that situation, but you're talking about some other other life things you have to talk about, the kids, everything. I know that rears its head not in just when it gets to resentment. It's triggered just by the presence
It can be.
of the person. Every time you see them, if you hate somebody, there's nothing that you like about it.
That's right. That's right. And that is so deep. God teaches us not to hate anybody. God teaches us that, hey, I am love, therefore you should be loved. You should love everybody. It's one thing to not care so much for someone outside your home. But when we're talking about our mates are with us more than other people outside the home. Our mates are the ones that's in the house with us if we're not separated. And you guys will hear me say some things because we have an audience that's not just here. We have an audience right there as well, and I talk to them as well when I'm talking because the feedback that we be getting for that, and I thank God for it. There are people that in their households live in the same house, same address. The mere presence, and I like what you said because I know it is true, the mere presence of their mate disgusts them. Yeah. That didn't happen overnight though. That did not happen overnight. Pastor put a posting out on Facebook today talking about PFL. He talked about maintenance. Whenever you provide maintenance to something or someone, preventive maintenance, it's a good thing in that it causes, take for example, he used the example of a car. Pastor said, when you get your routine oil changes, whenever you get oil changes to a car, it's going to prevent things from happening negatively to that car in terms of the motor. It's going to prevent some things. So it is in our relationship with PFL. It doesn't necessarily have to be just PFL. If you get maintenance on your relationship, periodic maintenance on your relationship, it will head off things like this. Things like this happen to an automobile when there is no maintenance done to it. I think I put a little comment to Pastor's thing saying something about an oil change isn't as serious as rebuilding an engine. And you commented, Pastor, you alluded to
but anything you neglect will deteriorate.
yes.
And also said it's better to drive in for repair drive in for maintenance than to be towed in for repair.
That's it.
Because if you
That's
get towed in for repair, it's gonna cost you something to get right. But maintenance that's a small fee. That's $29.99 or change your filter.
That's it.
And keep riding.
That's it. That's it. And so it is with our marriages. The maintenance of it all. Because once it gets here, oh my God, yes, yes, it can be fixed. But the depth of which is going, the effort and everything that's going to go in to fixing it from this point, it was needless had it been dealt with back here.
Anyway, some things can be so bad that even I've had cars like this that the repair was so intense that it never drove like it used to. It never had the same ride or the same feel because of the depth of the repair.
And that, as I relate that to relationship, trust can be violated so much so that it's never quite like it used to be before the trust was violated. That's why, okay, God, okay, Holy Spirit, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring it back. That's why with trust, you have to handle trust with kid gloves, with kitten gloves. You have to be so delicate with trust, because with trust, once it's gone, I'm talking about depending on what took place especially, but once it's gone and trying to rebuild it, in rebuilding that trust, like Pastor just said, a lot of times it's not quite like it was before that trust was violated. It's not quite like it was, because now the car, before the extensive repairs on the car, I'm just driving along. Everything cool, it's riding real good. But now, because my block is cracked, and I'm talking about, my engine done blew up. The engine's messed up. So I have it rebuilt. Now, things could be going on in my head with the car that ain't even actually there. Y'all ain't hearing what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. The trust been so violated now until now, something could not even be happening, not even going on. But I'm thinking it. Yeah.
What's that? What's that?
Exactly. That's it.
I know it's a rebuilt motor.
What was that? And it could have not been anything though.
And built up enough trust in that rebuilt motor.
That's it. That's it. That's good. Yeah. so yeah. At this point, any comments, any questions before we move forward? Any comments or questions?
If you're on the bad end of the resentment, where you caused it, you can't, and maybe you're godly sorrowful for what you caused.
Yes, sir.
You can't expect it to, just because you're godly sorrowful does not mean the other person don't have a process to go through. Just because you done went through your process, you think, okay, all right, I'm cleaned up. God done forgive me. And all right, let's get back on where we was. It don't work.
It don't work like that. That's right.
It's like messing up 1,000-piece puzzle. Okay, now it done got messed up. Guess what? It's gonna take the same amount of time and then more to put it back together again.
Absolutely.
And you got to give that person time. Just because you've processed and you cool, that's another party involved.
And absolutely, and that's why I alluded to earlier, those that put 3 on your paper, if your mate was one of the ones that put 1, that goes to Pastor's point right there, is that the one that put 1, I'm cool, I'm good, everything all right, hey, no big deal. But the one that's putting 3 on there, you're going to have to make sure you understand how they are processing it, because to them it looked like there ain't no wind in sight right here. Ain't no wind in sight. So the way in which we process it. Anybody else?